Shalom Uvracha. This week, and probably next week also, the headlines of world news are occupied with the death of the Queen, Queen Elizabeth of Britain and the Commonwealth, and of course her successor, Charles III, who finally ascended the throne. And people of the world have a tendency to minimize the relevance and the importance of this institution of the monarchy. The king or the queen don't possess actual power, they have formal power, but in practice their power is minimal. They have a symbolic role, and some are even prone to mock the symbolism of the king or the queen. What's the point of this institution? Is there any need or any value in preserving with taxpayer money the institution of the monarchy? But I think that the monarchy has important value, certainly for Britain and maybe even for the world. On the one hand, the king or the queen have a power of unifying. The country is unified around the monarchy, around the royal family. They present a certain continuity. Governments rise and fall, but the tradition of the monarchy continues on for centuries and is still going strong. But beyond the unity and the symbolism of continuity, I think that the Queen, certainly in her lifetime, and we expect this from every monarch, represents a certain sense of duty, a certain sense of transcending the modern trend of being authentic, of being loyal to oneself, first of all, of being the real me, but rather being loyal, having an infinite fidelity to state, to crown, to tradition, to something that transcends the everyday reality of things that go on in our day-to-day lives, but represents something bigger. And all of the details, which we sometimes laugh at, of regal procedure, whether it's in the different ceremonies, whether it's in what we're going to see now, a coronation, and so on and so forth, all of these details are a part of that loyalty, fidelity, sense of duty to something which is beyond what I myself bring to the table. And this sense of duty and loyalty and fidelity in an institution such as the monarchy is something that's becoming very rare in our world, and it's a good thing that it's still preserved among the monarchy of Great Britain and elsewhere in the world. And what better time to think about these concepts than this week when we read Parashat Ki Tavo. This is the parasha that includes the curses, the 98 curses that the Torah gives to whoever goes against, to whoever is disloyal to the covenant between us, the Jewish people, and Hashem. And why so many curses? Well, Ezra enacted that we read these curses specifically before Rosh Hashanah, before the new year, in order that that our curses should be gone, should be completed, as it were, finished off before the end of the year, and Tachel Shana Uberkoseha. The new year should begin with its blessings. How do all these curses achieve that? Well, the curses are not promises. We're not sure that all of these curses will actually come to pass, but they teach us something else. They teach us the depth of duty within the context, within the framework of the covenant between us and Hashem. Eile divrei habris, the Torah completes, the Torah concludes. These are the words of the covenant that Hashem strikes with the Jewish people aside from the covenant of Har Sinai. There's a covenant that descends to the depth of our existence, the depth of everything that we do. We serve Hashem not the way we feel like it, not the way that we believe is most authentic to ourselves, but rather the way that the Torah prescribes. And by serving Him in this way, we merit all of the blessings that the Torah gives, and if we are, heaven forbid, disloyal to the way in which the Torah prescribes, then we have the klalos, we have all of the curses that the Torah prescribes, that the Torah promises. This is the way that we approach Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is called in the Torah Yom Teruah, a day of sounding the shofar, a day of sounding. And what is a day of sounding? When do we sound trumpets? At coronations. Coronations are the times when trumpeters come out and they coronate the king with the sound of trumpet. Yom Teruah, it's a day of sounding, a day of coronation. That's why Rosh Hashanah is a day on which our focus is on coronating, on the kingdom of Hashem. And the message that we take from Parashat Ki Tavo to that day of Rosh Hashanah is a message of absolute fidelity, of absolute duty within the context of the Malchus, of the kingship of Hashem over the world. That's why Ezra enacted that we read this portion of the Torah before Rosh Hashanah in order to internalize the depth, the profundity of that sense of duty. And if we take that sense of duty, which we're reminded of this week with the sad passing of Queen Elizabeth and the rise to the throne of King Charles, when we take that sense of duty in hand and we bring it with us to the day of Rosh Hashanah, to the Yom Teruah, the day of the coronation, then we're promised that Tichle Shana V'Kilu L'Seah, the previous year will end with all of its curses. No more shall they be. And Tachel Shana U'Birkosea, the new year will commence, will begin with all of its blessings. We should be Zoicha, we should merit a year filled with blessing, with prosperity, with goodness. We should all have a wonderful Shabbos.